I have to fit behind it, Oh, okay. So I don't need to hold it, right? Here? This isn't yours?
It should be able to pick up your voice.
I don't need to hold it. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Please stand as we welcome the Governor General of our Federation, Dame Marcella Liebert. Okay, you may be seated. Good afternoon again, and welcome to our handing over ceremony. My name is Leah Craig Chatterton, and I have the distinct pleasure of being your host at this afternoon's short proceedings. Some time ago, last year, September, a few persons came together and created this idea to have a fundraiser to help our beloved Cardin home. That idea transpired into a reality, and we're here today to hand over the fruits of all of our labor. Before we move into the official ceremony, allow me to set the protocol. Her Excellency, Dame Marcella Liebert, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, Mr. Curtis Martin, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Jensen Morton, and Director Maynard. We now invite the chair of the Men in Aprons Fundraising Committee forward to bring brief remarks on behalf of the committee on today's occasion, Mr. Amali Amani. Please help me welcome Amali.
Thank you very much, Leah. Good afternoon to everyone. I'd like to adopt the protocol that has been so ably established by Ms. Craig Chatterton. I'd like to begin these remarks with a very short quotation that I found this morning. And it is, open quote, "To care for those who once cared for us is one of the highest honors that you can have." And this is by a lady called Tia Walker. The whole idea for this fundraiser was actually a conversation between myself and my friends from Kaiburi, Andre in particular. We met in his office and we decided we wanted to do something that was very meaningful for society. And it was actually Andre's idea for us to come together and help the Cardin home. We approached the Rotary clubs of St. Kitts and Lyamiga, as well as a couple of other organizations, to assist and to come on board to help bring this to life. So said, so done. In September of last year, we had our first inaugural, our first annual, because we do intend to keep it going every year, Men in Aprons Cook-Off and Food Festival. It was a lot more successful than anybody anticipated. The event was marvelously executed. It was well supported by people from both St. Kitts and Nevis. We had several celebrity judges, including, the sheriff, Mark Brantley from Nevis, Junie Liebert, O'Keefe Marshall, and a couple others. And the teams were the highlight of our first event. I think the small business team won the hearts and minds of the onlookers at the event, but not the taste. They were a fan favorite. And shockingly to everyone, our Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force emerged victorious and took home the trophy. So we want to congratulate them, led by our now Deputy Commissioner Cromwell Henry. And you could ask Andre, we were supposed to have the trophy branded with Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force. And Cromwell called me every day for about 3 weeks. I need my trophy, I need my trophy, I need my trophy. How long it take to brand a trophy? He finally got it, and it is, stationed in his office on the top shelf, and he's very proud of it. And I believe the runners-up were Team Caribou and Team ASAP, who was led by Brandon Cranston of the ASAP group. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience. We had lots of fun. Our dame was there. She also assisted in handing out the trophies and the prizes. And we look forward to making the event this year twice as big. We want to see 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 people come out to support because it's for a good cause. In the end, we managed to raise over $20,000 for the Cardin home. And it's all thanks to the dedication and hard work of all the entities involved, especially our sponsors. We use that money alongside with the support and the assistance of the Rotary Club to purchase a bunch of items for our seniors here at the home. We were in close communication with Dr. Morton for the home, and he indicated that they were in dire need of particular items, and we went above and beyond and got even more than what was asked for. We managed to procure, these are what they refer to as over bedside tables, adjustable, and these will be able to assist especially our bedridden residents to have their meals more comfortably while they're in bed. We had actually acquired 65 of these to try and meet the quota that was asked for by Dr. Morton. We also managed to procure 2 of these 50-inch smart TVs for the common area, so the folks watch their soaps and so in the afternoon in style and comfort. We also managed to acquire 4 of these wheelchairs for the home, and lastly, we managed to acquire a 10 video camera surveillance system for the property. So basically to improve the security and the safety of the residents here at the Cardin home. So yeah. So lastly, I'd just like to thank all the folks who contributed to the endeavor last year. I'd like to thank Native Water from the Rams Group, Azul Printers, the Asylum Sound, that's Ronnie Rascal and his sound system, D&D Services, Cox and Screws, Rams Trading, INJ Electrical Engineering, Hosford's Value Mart, Stage Right, Freedom FM, Caribou, Valley's Tent Rental, who came on in a big way, I must say, even today. Large Mount Olive, Delta Petroleum, the Office of the Prime Minister, who contributed heavily to the cause as well. Pro Video Productions, who is here with us today as well. Scandis, MoneyGram, and Island Flavors. Those are, can we give them a little? So without these partners, the event wouldn't be possible, and today wouldn't be possible. So I want to thank them once again. I want to thank all of you for being here to support, and I'll now turn it back over to our esteemed host, Ms. Leah Craig-Jadderton, to continue the proceedings. Thank you.
I've never been referred to as esteemed before. Gave me a nice warm feeling. Thank you, Chair Amali, for those words. I am down to do the vote of thanks later, and I'd like to move a motion that be dismissed with, as Amali so ably dealt with it in his remarks. We also have a few persons to recognize here, our collaborative partners with for Men in Aprons. They have their representatives here. So we have Mr. Dwayne Hector from Mount Lodge Olive with us. We also have the president of the Rotary Club of Lyamiga, Ms. Nicole Leibard. Representing the Rotary Club of St. Kitts, we have Cara Daly Ferdinand. She's the club secretary. And representing Caribou, we have the team ably led by Andre Amarit. So please join me in giving them a round of applause, because without their initiative to pull everything together, we wouldn't be here today. We now invite Dr. Jensen Morton to give brief remarks on behalf of the Cardin home.
Thank you, Ms. Craig Chatterton, and allow me to adopt the protocol that was so ably established, but allow me to also give some special recognition to the team from the Ministry of Health and to also highlight the staff of the Cardin home, the property of which we are on today, and that was what all of this event was organized to assist. So it was last year in August that Mr. Amory would have first come into contact with us, giving us the whole idea that they had to give this grand donation. And I have to say that it was very pleasing. We do get donations to the Cardin home every now and again. A lot of times persons, when they give, they do it small donations. They don't really want that much attention. But these larger scale donations, they help a lot because it gives publicity to the existence of the Cardin home, and it allows other businesses, other establishments, and other people around the island to recognize the existence of the Cardin home and to also want to in turn reach out. So the Cardin home actually just a few weeks ago would have celebrated its 95th anniversary. So So this donation is very timely because it drops perfectly in with the celebratory activities that we've been having in-house to commemorate 95 years of existence for this establishment. And I'll also take the opportunity to state that we have been in recent times paying a lot more attention to the Cardin home, and we have already done a myriad of improvements with regards to the goings on of here. We had massive, thorough deep cleaning done on the entire property. We have done decluttering of the entire property. We've had some improvements with regards to staff changes. So everything that was mentioned, we went and tried to see how we could improve upon it. So some people complained about some persons at the Cardin home not having much to do. So an activities coordinator is now a part of the staff of the Cardin home to ensure that they always have some kind of activity to do. And it ties in very well because the ministry, so ably led by Dr. Hanley, they have lots of activities regularly, and at least the staff of the Cardin home, you know, they make sure that every time we could piggyback on an activity, that we piggyback on the activity. So it's been very good. Apart from that, some of the bed-bound patients, there were some complaints with regards to them and their inability to participate in certain activities. So a physiotherapist was added to the staff of the Cardin home as well to ensure that those persons get regular exercise. Now, apart from the exercise, okay. So apart from the exercise, we started to look holistically at the residents of the Cardin home, and something else that we wanted to pay attention to was the nutrition. In the past, it really was just, they were fed, of course, they were fed, but there was not anyone to pinpoint to ensure that persons with specific ailments get the best possible diet for them with that ailment. So now there is a full-time nutritionist as well as an assistant nutritionist that is at the Cardin home to ensure that their diets are proper, given all of the individual medical conditions and given their circumstances. The other thing is we've done some improvements to the property with regards to at the back where we had some individual rooms. Those are very near completion. Unfortunately, we can't really predict what happens in the world, but the only thing that was missing was some doors, and they got caught in Yemen of all places. So those things happening around the world, sometimes they could impact us over here. It was coming from China to over here, and they got caught up in there. So it happened. But we're on the brink of finishing that, and also I have to give some thanks to Constituency Empowerment, the Ministry of Constituency Empowerment, because they so ably reached out and were able to give the donation to assist us to get the entire property painted, which is why it has a fresher look than what, if you are a regular visitor to the Cardin home, than what you may have been accustomed to. That was thanks to the Ministry of Constituency Empowerment. We have many more things in store with regards to multiple ways to improve the livelihoods of the persons at the Cardin home, and we are very grateful to this donation because every single item that was donated, as you could imagine, is going to just help with the overall improvement in the quality of life of persons here. So for anyone that might be complaining about being bored, now both the the common room on the male side as well as an area in the female side. They'll now have a television such that they're able to remain entertained even at the points in time when maybe we don't have an activity. The bedside tables are a lot more important than what some people might be thinking. There are 100 beds here at the Cardin home, and we do have furniture, we do have equipment, but unfortunately there was a habit of not giving the Cardin home the best of things. And some items that were here as furniture items, they really were things that should have been disposed of, put it that way. And so not every bed had the type of furniture that we would have liked. We did a decluttering. We removed some of the faulty furniture, but we needed new furniture now to replace it. One of the things that we hadn't replaced yet was some of the some of the overbed tables. It's not every single person that lives at the Cardin home can physically get up and go to the dining room. So this is definitely going to assist. It's actually more than how many patients we have that are bedbound, which is good, which means that if one mashes up, we have a replacement for quite some time. So that's excellent. With regards to the security, we do have on-site security. We do have orderlies here. And another wonderful thing is that every single resident of the village that lives on the perimeter of the Cardin home, they are like an in-house security as well. They're always seeing everything, and anything looks out of place, they're quick to call. But the security cameras are definitely going to help to make sure that our residents are kept as safe as possible. And finally, of course, the wheelchairs. We do have wheelchairs here, but we will not refuse any donation to upgrade anything that we have here. And whatever we have that is not currently being used, we'll know that if this smashes up a wheel or if this is irreparable, that we have a replacement that we can bring out right away. So this donation, it is exceptionally timely, it's exceptionally appreciated, and we look forward to the continued relationship. We are very glad for the ridiculous amount of generosity in which literally out of nowhere, that something so generous, just came out of nowhere. So we're really grateful for it. So I would like to thank everyone again for all of the participation that they would have had in the event and in making today a reality. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Morton. We'll move swiftly along, and we'll invite Mr. Curtis Martin, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, to proffer some remarks as well. Mr. Martin?
That's right. You're always supposed to make sure you give the sponsors their due recognition. Men in apron. Your Excellency, and let us just remind, just as a piece of protocol, so we know across the nation, whenever the Governor General, Dame Marcella Liebert, is present, you never say, The Excellency. You always address her, Your Excellency, because she is present. Your Excellency, Dame Marcella Liebert, GCMG, Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of the Ministry of Aging, Disability, et al. Dr. Jensen Morton, Director of Health Institutions, Director of Operations, Mrs. Maynard, representatives from Rotary of Lyamiga and Rotary St. Kitts, the Men in Apron, all other stakeholders, Mr. Chairman. And I can tell you something about this chairman. He has been very, very particular about making sure that this ceremony happened today, because he chased me down, making sure that I signed a necessary document to make sure that the C101 form gets to customs. And while I was in meetings, he was very flexible in moving back and forth. And that says a lot. And in different locations, he meant that these things will be here today. So I wanted to give him and the Men in Apron a big round of applause. You know, the universe has taught us that the more you give into the universe, the more you ought to get back. And today is really interesting because I can vividly remember attending that function with the cookout. I saw George like Junie Liebert and the Honorable Premier of Nevis. At one time I said, boy Junie, it looked like you're going to eat off all the food because he's supposed to be tasting and he's eating. You remember that? Right. And what happened there is, it was not just about the cooking. What the men in Aprons did that day is brought a community of people together. You had cooks, you had people who come look news, you had people who come eat, you had different stakeholders, and you have fringe persons selling. In fact, one of the best cook-up I eat in a long while was from one of the vendors who were there. And she was in the back. I just went searching, and she had the last plate. I said, well, I'll have it. And it was excellent. I had a grand time. I saw the Honorable, Your Excellency, I saw you there helping out, having conversations, and living up to what you said when you accepted the role, that you'll always stay among the people. All right? And that was very, very, very important. And so it is very important that we solidly accept and recognize these kinds of donations. In fact, just last week, the hospital received 3 brand new AC units, about 54,000 BCU, from an anonymous donor. And I want to put it out to the public that, and I agree with the Director of Health Institutions, that we accept donations of all kinds. What we want to make sure, though, is that they're working and they can be effective and practical. And so whether they're anonymous or by open donations, we accept them. And we accept them because healthcare is not just about the public sector. I don't know how many of us realize that organizations actually put the word limited behind their names. S.L. Hosford Limited. That limited. I think we also have to put the word limited behind the word government. Because there is a limit with respect to what we can do given the resources that we have. So therefore, we cannot rely just on the government funds. We need to rely on significant contributions and voluntary work by partners, social partners, by those persons such as Men in Black. Men in Apron, oh God. Men in Apron. Now, I just want to say one other thing before I close. That the health landscape of St. Kitts and Nevis are facing 3 pillars. Physical health, mental health, which is on the rise, and social health. We don't pay attention to that. Let me give you a raw example of what social health and how it can impact someone. Social health comes from things like the smoking of cannabis, marijuana. But in anything, we must do things responsibly. So when you take your spliff out and you light it without due respect to the person next to you who's asthmatic, that's a social impact on the health services, because that person can reach the hospital and also can even die. So we have to be careful about how we interact with each other. So again, physical, mental, and social. We have to pay attention to those 3 pillars. And the contribution by Men in Apron is really about a social contribution, because what you had was a social event. And from that, love was expressed to the Cardin home. And to me, for you to give love, you must have it. It's really about an inward reach and an outward stretch. And you have stretched way beyond our expectations. And we want to thank you solidly for your contribution. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you so much, Mr. Martin. Were you a teacher? wanted, okay, because one thing about Mr. Martin, he will always teach you something. No matter what he's supposed to do, you will learn. So thank you so much for those remarks. We now move into our last remarks of the proceedings, and we invite the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, Deputy Prime Minister, to come forward and give us some brief remarks. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Hanley.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, my grade 3 student, Your Excellency, and all of the, yes, I taught her in grade 3. I do seek your permission, Madam Chair, to adopt the protocol. But of course, I just recognize Your Excellency, and of course, I must recognize the entire team from Cariboury. Indeed, they continue to support just about everything that they're asked of. And I just want to thank them, even in education as well. I am happy to be here to sit in on behalf of the Prime Minister, because today's ceremony is a very significant one. It is almost like when you plant a seed and you're not certain as to what will burst out of the ground, but when it is and you see the result, you were happy, or you're happy that you ever did. And I believe this is exactly how Mr. Harmony feels and his entire team. Because I remember when he pitched the idea to me, because I did a similar event in my area, and he took off with such an energy to the point where he publicly announced that I will be one of the chefs at the event, even without me knowing. So when I started getting calls, I was like, But long and short, the event was a very, very successful one that the country was talking about for a very long time. So personally, I want to congratulate all of those persons who were involved in this activity. And here we are today with the team giving back to an institution that is 95 years old. Indeed, this is something that I don't think any one of us will ever forget. As we see the items, we all will agree that they will impact the institution. And on behalf of the Ministry of Health, or the Minister rather of Health, I just want to thank each and every one of you who contributed in whatever way. I know the vote of thanks would be given by my student, but I just want to thank all of the donors in this activity. And today we are happy that a dream has turned into something that will forever be in the minds and the hearts of people. I challenge Mr. Harmony, my nephew, because the event really should have been at the Newtown playfield. But because we did not have a completed stadium, he shifted to Connery. But I boast of a brand new covered stadium, so I hope you will consider to bring it in the area that it originally should have been. But thank you very much, and the government do appreciate your contribution, and we look forward to many more contributions from your organization and all of other organizations that might be willing to contribute. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your kind words, Deputy PM. It's always very hard for me because, like you said, I was his third grade student, and it doesn't age him or I. We were both young. And still are. We were younger. Right. And now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, the pièce de résistance, as the French would say. we have the official handover, and to do that, I invite Chairperson, Mr. Amali Amani, Dr. Morton, the Permanent Secretary, Mr. Martin, as well as the Deputy Prime Minister to come forward and complete the final stage of our first ever Men in Aprons Cardin Home fundraiser.
Yes, well, on behalf of the... That way?
Go in the middle.
Okay. On behalf of the Men in Aprons Organizing Committee, we do present to the Cardin Home and by extension the Ministry of Health this big check. Well, this big bundle of items actually worth $20,000. So we give it to you, and we know that it will be put to excellent use, and we look forward to donating even twice as much after the next event in September. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yes, teacher. So actually, we're going to announce the date for the next Men in Aprons right after this, and then I'll tell him to come on out. Okay. Okay. All right, so before the vote of thanks, welcome Ronnie, one of our biggest supporters. He provided the sound system for us last year, and it was wonderfully appreciated. I also want to take this moment to thank Damian Hobson from Hobson Enterprises, who facilitated this massive shipment of things and assisted us in covering lots of the costs for that as well. So we want to thank Hobson Enterprises for their help. So the tentative date for Men in Aprons Part 2 is Saturday the 14th of September 2024. Venue to be announced. Oh boy, that will depend. That will depend a lot on the size of the check that you write to contribute to this next event, Deputy PM. And you have to have a team as well. You have to lead a team, like you were supposed to do last year. So yeah, no seafood. Okay, no problem. I got you. So 14 September, everyone, 2024. Men in Aprons Part 2 is going to be bigger and better and more exciting. So I'll hand it over to our esteemed chair now to give the vote of thanks. Thank you very much.
I do not believe in speaking unnecessarily. We have all been here for quite some time, and we've borne this heat. Everyone has thanked everyone already. So all I will do is a nice at the end, and those attorneys in the room would know we always have a catch-all phrase at the end of all our contracts, and thank all and sundry for everything, every aspect of their participation in making this first ever Men in Aprons fundraiser a success, and we look forward to your continued support and collaboration as we move into Men in Aprons 2.0, September 14th, Saturday, September 14th, mark the date. Thank you all so much for coming. We'll now have light refreshments over on that would be your right, my left. Thank you again for coming.